Live from the Boomtown Press Studios, it's Odd Musings. I'm your host, Brett Pinson. Scott is out on assignment today, taking care of some personal business, so he's not going to be joining me. But joining me today is going to be, I'm going to put on now here, Sean Forney. How you doing, Sean?
Hey, I'm doing great. How about you?
Oh, fantastic. So we're going to have a great time today. But as always, I got to take care of some bills. So sit tight. Everybody can look at him while I read these off to you guys. I'm going to start off with our sponsor, Loringer Family Chiropractic, where your journey to wellness begins here. Build a healthy lifestyle with chiropractic care. Loringer Family Chiropractic Center, PC, they take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient, offering on-site digital x-rays, massage therapy, orthotics by foot levelers, young living essential oils, aromatherapy, all in a family-oriented environment. Give them a call, 734-697-4244. You can find them online at LoringerFamilyChiropractic.com. We do have a link at our website at Odd Musings. Of course, scrolling on the bottom of the video, you can see all our sponsors right there. And our next great sponsor, which you can actually get their products at Loringer Family Chiropractic, is Stony Creek Hemp. Stony Creek Hemp provides healthy CBD alternatives that are all natural and non-toxic. CBD results are proven to be greatly beneficial for a variety of issues on all different parts of the body. They are a small farm located in southeastern Michigan where they grow industrial hemp as well as corn and soybeans, and their mission is to provide the finest quality hemp CBD products on the market. You can find them online at Stony Creek Hemp on all the Facebook, Instagrams, and then stonycreekhemp.com. I don't know, Sean, you probably heard us talk about them before, but I use both products. I use the Loringers for my chiropractic care. And the nice thing about the Stony Creek Hemp is I'm not someone that's into marijuana or anything, but this is not marijuana. It's hemp. So you're not going to get high from it. Nobody's worried about that. But I got to tell you, the pain, it's helped with the pain. I think, did you guys try that when we were in Akron at all?
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up. Steph and I have been trying that since Akron. And I like right around the time, like just after Akron when we saw you guys, I was finishing up my book. So I was spending a bunch of time at my desk, doing a hunched over thing, doing this. And
Yeah.
I started using it on my lower back, and it's helped immensely.
Yeah, and like I said, the nice thing about it, it's all natural. They use organic ingredients, so their product is not itself certified organic, but definitely everything they do is on an organic level. So, and in fact, they've been posting. If you check out their Facebook page, they're posting all the new plants they're getting ready to put in the ground here soon. Once the weather is completely broke, we're getting like 70 today here in Michigan, and then tomorrow a high of 48. So, nice. So we're kind of in that up and down here and that stuff. But we do have one other sponsor, and this is normally what Scott would read. It is his Team Titans of Real Estate. They are specialized in the real estate markets of Macomb, Oakland, and Wayne County. Why? Because you matter. And that's their tagline there. They use the latest tools in social media technology to maximize results. And during this coronavirus, they're still doing a lot of stuff online. They can do virtual walkthroughs. There's still a lot of listings out there. So definitely follow on Facebook at Team Titans RE. That's facebook.com at Team Titans RE. And then give them a call, 586-549-6096. You can visit them online at teamtitansofrealestate.com. One thing about Team Titans is they are available all day, every day. There's between him and Jill, they always make themselves available as much as possible to help out all their clients. And so if you're looking for a new home, even if you're not in the area of Southeast Michigan and you look somewhere, they have resources to help you find something nationwide and refer you to a good real estate agent. So definitely check out them. As you can see on our bottom there, got them all scrolling. So check out all that stuff. But now back to Sean Forney, who's with us today. This is awesome. Thanks for joining me, Sean. This is great, man.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. It's always a blast talking with you. And, with everything going on with the virus.
Yeah.
We haven't had any cons yet. Well, I mean, any cons that we've been together. So it's like I haven't seen you since.
I did one show, and it was the Great Lakes Comic Expo. That was at the end of February, and since then, everything else has been canceled.
Yep.
And it's just it's heartbreaking. It's tough. I just found out. I think I mentioned yesterday. Denver has been rescheduled to Thanksgiving weekend. That's gonna be interesting. In that, I'm actually kind of semi excited about it being Thanksgiving because I missed the old days of when we did Mid Ohio Con, which is where I first met you because you were next to me at Mid Ohio Con 2006.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm in that same boat. It's like we were able to get to C2E2, and since then everything's been canceled. And yeah, I mean, it's craziness, and we're making the best of it.
And that's the thing is, I know you mentioned you were doing some like virtual like sales or conventions online. I know you're doing a lot of work because you've been posting images all over the place.
Yeah.
So let's start off with this. first of all, you're married to Steph, who is not only one of the sweetest people alive, but is also a fantastic illustrator in her own right. So, what are you guys doing to pass your time during the day when you're not drawing?
So we've both obviously been playing catch up with some work and whatnot. So when this whole thing kicked off, I think we are on day 23 of the stay at home order here in Ohio.
Yeah.
She's been doing the teaching from home thing. But when this whole thing kicked off, we were still getting all of our Scarlet Huntress Adventures Kickstarter packages shipped out. So we spent,
Okay.
I'd say, probably about 3-4 days, if you add it all together, at the time we spent down in our shipping and receiving department down in the basement. We got everything packed up, got all, we had 199 physical packages to get shipped out, and outside of I think just a couple that are waiting on me to get a sketch done or something of that nature, we've shipped just about everything out. So that's the first few days of quarantine we spent doing that, and then since then it's try to get our work done during the day, get caught up with stuff, and then we've been doing Netflix, Amazon Prime. We signed up for the free month of CBS.
So you watched the Picard show.
Watched Picard, loved it.
Yep.
It's got me intrigued to go back and rewatch some of the older stuff to kind of like refresh my memory on a lot of the Borg stuff. I was, hopefully not spoiling it for anybody.
Well, we spoiled it last week, so if they're watching now, it's too late.
Cool. All right. So when 7 and 9 shows up, which I saw from some of the previous stuff, I knew she was coming in, but I don't know enough of her backstory. And and then there was a lot of mention of when Picard was part of the Borg, and I watched that stuff, but it was so many years ago. It's like
that was it 19. I think 1990 is when he got part of the Borg, because I was in college, and he became a Locutus aboard, and it was like the big cliffhanger, then the big start of the next season. So
and it was part of First Contact, the movie, I think.
Yeah, they dealt with that a little bit, dealing with the Borg Queen, and they dealt with it actually from going forward is like when they got Hugh. Hugh was part of the Next Generation series for a little bit, and he got off the collective and kind of became his own person. But even in Picard, they mentioned that they're going to recognize you as Locutus. That's who they see you as. They know you're Locutus. So
right, and so that's made me want to go back and watch some of that stuff. And in addition to watching stuff, Steph and I have been trying to, when the weather's nice, go out and walk around. We've got a walking path out behind the house, and then we walk the neighborhood, and we take Indy for a walk and all that, or ride our bikes. And I keep telling her every time we're out there doing it, I'll see some of the fire pits and stuff around the neighborhood, and it's like, I want Riker's pizza oven in my backyard.
Yeah. Oh man, wasn't that nice?
Oh, it's awesome. It's like I want that in a big old giant like Texas style grilling pit.
Oh, that'd be cool. Get a nice big thing going, and throw on have a spit over top of it, so you can have something rolling and throw stuff down below. And so there we go. See, that's why. See, I got the smoker, so I can definitely use that. But I wouldn't mind a big pit like that. It'd be kind of cool too.
Oh yeah. I mean, same thing. Got the grill, got the smoker, all that stuff. But it's like, if I could have all that in just one big fancy looking fireplace pit type thing, that'd be
get yourself a nice little center area, and you can have sitting around it, do it all in brick. It'd be pretty cool.
Yes, exactly.
Well, you got time. Go build it right now.
I know, right?
Of course, you got to do like everybody else. Got to pay the bills, and I know you've been doing a lot of covers. I'm going to share your screen here a little bit, because you got a few of your covers here that you've done recently.
Yeah.
Because you've done, besides the Scarlet Huntress, which is yours and Steph's story, that you guys self-published there. But you've done a cover for Lady Death.
Yeah. So I'll say like maybe the last 2 years of going out to San Diego Comic-Con, got some FaceTime with Brian Polito, who owns Coffin Comics and runs it, writes the Lady Death stuff. We met, we chatted, whatnot, and I got to throw a huge shout out and a big thank you to my buddy Marat, who you see me posting all the Dewey Poo and the Hardly Thins and the Naughty and Nice stuff. Marat has talked with Polito and mentioned me and all that kind of stuff. And so last year at Comic-Con, I went to go say hi and chat with Brian, and I still like get goosebumps slash just feel like, you know, a kid in a candy store or whatever. Is I walk up to Brian and he's sitting there, and he if I remember right, I think he had his glasses like on top of his head, and he sees me walking up, and it was one of those things that's like, you know, I could tell he recognized me, wanted to say hi, so we went up and did the whole fist bump thing and whatnot, and he grabs his glasses off to read my name tag. He's like, "Yeah, I thought that was you." He's like, you know, trying to make sure he connected the name and the face and all that stuff, and like before I could get the words out of my mouth to say, "Hey, I'd love to, you know, work with you or whatever," he beat me to the punch, and he's like, "Yeah, we need to work together." And it's like, then I'm like just stammering, like, "Dude, you beat me to it." And it's like, so like, I don't know, a couple weeks after Comic Con, he sent me the image you see up on the screen there. That's the first cover I got to color for him, and I since I think I've done, I want to say probably 6 or 7 or so covers for him so far.
Okay.
And I literally just finished 2 of them yesterday or the day before.
Oh, very cool.
I can't keep track of days anymore. It was Monday, so yeah, 2 days ago. So yeah, it's been great getting to do that, and you know, it's you know, one of the, I can't say I was like an avid reader of Lady Death as a kid, but it was definitely something that was on my radar. I was always seeing it in like the comic shop or in Wizard magazine, something like that. And so it was really cool to get the opportunity to work on it and get to work with Brian. And you know, we're the ones emailing back and forth. It's not like I'm dealing with, you know, some in between person or something. It's actually he and I, you know, conversing back and forth, which was really cool.
Yeah, he always seems to handle his own business on that, and he's run one of the best independent companies right now, putting out titles, especially with his Kickstarters. He's doing like 4 or 5 a year,
Oh yeah,
and they're just huge Kickstarters.
yeah, and he is very much influential on how I wanted to operate with doing the Kickstarter stuff. And again, Marat, you know, and Marat basically told me, he's like, just do everything Brian's doing. So the 2 of them together, I mean, like that's my go-to like roadmap of how to approach this stuff, and they're just incredible how they do it.
Yeah, well, that's cool. That's cool. You know, you mentioned Marat. I'm gonna pull up my screen here because this is one of the ones you recently did. I have not watched
Tiger King.
you know, the Tiger King, but definitely that is definitely something interesting there. So
yeah. We've had a lot of fun with that. We've almost been doing a cover a day for like the last, I want to say 2 weeks now.
Mhm.
So we did like a handful of variants with Tigger as either Venom or Carnage, and they've been going to a shop that's actually here in Ohio. It's been their store variant for like the last few times.
Okay.
Cool Comics out in Middletown, Ohio, which like I did like the first 2 covers, and the shop owner Merle got in touch with me. He's like, "Hey," he's like, "I'm setting up a Facebook group, and everybody's loving the covers. You gotta come to my group and do one of these Facebook live sales for the group." And so Merle and his wife have both been great with doing the stuff with not only the exclusive covers that Marat and I've been doing, but
Mhm.
just helping promote me and what I do, and it's been really nice, and it's great that so many shops, because they're in you know, in a bad situation right now with everything going on, how much like outreach there is from all the shops wanting to, you know, band together and get out there and do stuff, as
Right.
well as all of us individual creators banding together to try to help each other out. So you know, I think it gets mentioned every day during the news and all that stuff about, you know, how you need to work together and we'll come through this together, and you know, so on and so forth. It's nice to see that stuff actually in play, and people actually responding positively about it.
Yeah, I would say I'm out in the public a lot with doing shipped outside of everything else, and a lot of people are coming together. A lot of people are very appreciative of everything that's going on for other people doing stuff for them. But then, and they're doing their part. A lot of people are like, if I don't have to go anywhere, a lot of them are starting to stay home,
Yeah.
which is good. But I've seen a lot of stuff on the internet, and I know our community of comics is always been a very tight knit community.
Hmm.
And I'm seeing all of us starting to come together more online, trying to promote each other, help each other out, and stuff like that. So I think it's always a great thing when we see that. So
Absolutely, and it's, you know, like you said, it's always been a tight knit community. Everybody is usually there to work together. You know, we've all got the same goal in mind, obviously, but
Mhm.
it's nice to see it even more so now that everybody's like, okay, you know, how can I help out? You know, not just my fellow creator, but how can I help out the shop? And you know, there's been, you know, we already mentioned all the conventions that have canceled. It's like, how can we jump on board for that kind of stuff? And
Yeah.
seeing the outpouring from like even the huge companies like Reed, where they were like, yeah, you know what, all this stuff's going, you know, getting postponed, canceled, what have you. We're gonna do our own little list of, you know, stuff on Twitter of, hey, if you're a creator, you're a shop, whatever, post your links, do this, whatever, we'll share it. You know, getting somebody, you know, with that kind of size and clout within the industry, like, you know, getting behind everybody, not just. At least I feel I see a lot of folks that'll, you know, kind of make those complaints of, you know, seeing a big company like that. It's like, oh well, they're just out for, you know, getting their money and stuff. It's like, no, they're in this just as much as the rest of us, and they're trying to help out. And
Well, and that's
yeah,
the thing, like with Reed, besides doing all the Comic Cons they do hundreds of other types of
yep,
conventions, and now all of those are all on hold worldwide because they do worldwide conventions.
yeah,
And so it's like they've got no money coming in, but doing this and trying to help out within that segment of their convention work is definitely a positive. They want to make sure people are out there paying attention. Here's these creators, and a lot of people like us that are very independent on the work they do. They may sometimes do work for bigger companies, things like that. Um, to see them try to help us out. We're not getting the income from those shows. And I know a lot of people
yep,
posted that I was looking for, I needed that money for this. You know, how am I going to pay my bills? You know, I'm looking for this. So people have been posting different things and fortunately I've seen some people post that had some good response to the fans actually buying stuff from them. I'm kind of hoping, I mean, this is one thing about these conventions being canceled is kind of hoping when they do start back up, those that come back to the conventions as fans have a newfound respect for it for what they missed
hmm
and realize that we're not always going to be there for, you know, for them to come hang out.
yeah,
And you know, it's one thing, I don't expect people to buy from everybody to buy from me, but at least buy from somebody in the show and not just come hang out, because that's the thing is we all make our living trying to at these shows trying to cover our costs and everything else. And I'm now seeing some of the fans going, "Oh, I've really missed this. I missed this interaction," and hopefully they will take it hard when they see us again. And you know, for you fans of Sean Forney, I'm hoping they come out and say, "Oh, I've really missed you. I missed being able to see the art that you were drawing, and now I actually want to get some art that I didn't get before, and you know, I want to get an original sketch cover, which they can still do today. I mean, they can order everything online from you now and say, "Hey, what do you got blanks?" I know you posted the other week you had a ton of blanks available.
yeah, and you know, I've seen a lot of the same reaction you're describing. It's like I've seen a lot of you know, fans, or you know, at least folks that enjoy going to comic book conventions, and they're posting. It's like, you know, they're upset, they're sad, they're missing out, they're not seeing their friends,
Mhm.
you know, all that stuff. And you know what is great, you know, which with you know, like you said, people are able to, you know, go online and, you know, maybe, you know, pick up a book or pick up a commission or something.
Yeah.
Um, and what I have found has been really, I don't know the word for it. Like, I've been trying to, in some way, shape, or form, at least in my view of it, is trying to like give back a little bit, which has been, I've been trying to live stream while I work on commissions, because, you know, I not only miss being at the conventions because, you know, of uh, having the interaction with folks, but you know, I'm, you know, like I already said at the beginning, it's like, you know, I haven't seen, you know, my friends. I haven't seen you in months, and
Yeah,
you know, I haven't
I mean,
seen any number of other friends.
we're supposed to see each other here in a couple weeks in Gem City,
Yeah.
and I know Jesse had to wait to cancel a little bit until things got situated where it didn't affect him financially,
Yes. Yes.
which is a lot of people don't understand that is the promoter side is the promoters themselves are kind of be held to the grind by the facility, saying if you cancel before there's an order saying we can't have it, we're going to charge you the full amount regardless.
Yeah.
And so I know he waited, and we knew it was going to happen. It was just an inevitability.
Yeah.
Uh, but I was definitely at the Gem City show. Jesse, first of all, I'm going to promote that a little bit. Gem City is one of the best shows going on. It's a nice, small, intimate show in Dayton, Ohio. And it's been going on, what's he, like 12 years now or something? Or
This should be 16 or
16?
17. Yeah.
17? Okay.
Let me do
I
the
know I've been
math.
there going a long time, and you lose
Yeah.
track. Because I was started back in the days when it was a one-day show down at Wright State University in the Student Center.
Yeah.
And then I missed the Nutter Center. I like the Nutter Center. And
Yeah.
then and the Dayton Convention Center has been a good place too. But Jesse runs a great show because it's a comic centric show that his guests are all guys like us, they're comic guys and artists and things like that. And it's like Sammy was there. She was there the other year. It's a great artist show. Old school 90s Comic Cons used to be.
Yep.
And that's been the fun part about it. And I missed that interaction because for one thing, it's kind of a reunion show because we know so many people there. I get to catch up with you. Kevin Minor was supposed to come out. Scott's been with us many times for that show. I was looking forward to seeing Nate Lovick because I got to get his next book that he just came out with. Was a Citizen Kane, I think there's or Kane. I'm blanking on the name right now, but and things like that. And then we run into other, there's a lot because it's in Ohio. I see a lot of Ohio artists. We see a lot of Michigan artists as well.
Yep.
And it's always just a great show. It is definitely the old school show. We come in and most people spend half their time in Artist Alley and not just in line to get an autograph, from Joe Schmo celebrity. So
right.
So that's really cool thing about it. And it's a shame that those have to be canceled. And the thing is that we miss the fans from those shows. There's people I only see at that show, and now I won't see them again until next year. Which I've already told Jesse I have to keep my money, keep my table. I'm coming back next year. I'll make it happen. And it's also one of those things where he's not making any money. He's never made big bank on the show. Any it's the small intimate shows like that. They're not making huge money. These guys rolling around in Cadillacs, he does it because he loves the industry, and he makes just enough to make it worthwhile for him. But it's one of the things where he just loves it. He runs other little small Comic Cons too, and it's just a great thing to do. It's like even Sammy says she says I'll be doing it next year. Definitely, it's a great show. It's a great thing to get out, and as we're all creators on this stuff, it's just it gives us a great format to bring out like the Scarlet Huntress, or when I bring out my Boomtown Press books, things like that, because those fans there are looking for us independent creators.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've done the show. I've only missed two. I missed the first one, and I missed the year that you, Scott, and I and Steph went out to WonderCon.
Right, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun because we got to go to Disney.
Yeah. That was a blast. I mean, I wouldn't trade that for anything. But I mean, I love the show. I love Jesse. I love his family. Jesse is family. I mean, Steph is a godparent to their daughter, so it's they're family. I love going out there, and then we get to see all our friends, all of our convention family, and like there's been several folks that I see every year at that show that have already messaged me. It's like, first it was like, I'm looking forward to seeing you, and all the excitement of leading up to it, and then to find out that it's been canceled, and everybody's upset, and again, I started to say, it's like I've been trying to find my own way to kind of like give that vibe, that feeling of being at a con. Is I've been trying to do a live stream with working on commissions and whatnot, and just to try to interact with those same folks, hoping that they'll come in, watch, we can start a conversation. And I always try to get the ball rolling as best I can, of because all you're doing is sitting there seeing my hand going over a piece of paper working on a drawing, but it's like trying to be like, hey, if you got questions, comments, things like that, throw them in there, and hopefully that the conversation rolls to get to be something more natural, like you would experience at a con, where it's like you're not just talking about me sitting there doodling. It's like, how's your day been? What exciting things you got going on while you're stuck in your house?
Right.
And I've had some really great experiences over the last like 2 weeks. Like one fan, he's in California, and he's been on the stay-at-home order much longer than we have, and he comes on almost every time and just sparks up a conversation, and we get to chat a little bit about what he does, like what's going on in his area, and things like that. So it's really neat, and it's not just me trying to provide entertainment. The folks that are like coming in, watching, and reaching out to me, I'm getting some entertainment out of it, because it's like we get to chat back and forth, have some fun, talk about who knows what while I'm going through working on whatever the commission happens to be, and we have some fun with it. And, spending maybe an hour at most each time I'm doing it, and it's just to try to get that little hint of that con feeling, whereas the rest of the time we're spent stuck indoors, or we can go to the grocery store. It's not too much to look forward to.
And that's the thing. And actually, with the way we can do this online stuff anymore, we can interact a little bit better with the fans a little more, and we're not as much as we're at shows to make money and hope to make more money here. it's one of those things where it's like, okay, this is a chance to actually interact and get a little more into it and knowing our fans. I always called it building relationships with the fans,
Yeah.
and that. But I'm going to take us back real quick before I go into that a little more. Here's us last year at
There
as
we
we get
go.
ready to go into or 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and celebrating Sean's birthday at Disneyland. It was a blast.
Oh, it was so
He
much fun.
got to drive the Indy car, which was cool.
Yeah. Dude, I tell that story anytime I talk about it. It's like, yeah, so it was my birthday weekend. My buddy went up and sweet talked the people running the ride, and I got to drive the car.
Well, and the nice thing about Disney was easy. I walked up and said, "It's his birthday," and they're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Well, it's like when I went up and got the buttons, and I walked up and said, "You got birthday buttons?" He's like, guy looked at me, he goes, "Yeah," because they adults do it all the time. I was like, "Great, it's my buddy Sean's birthday." Oh, that's cool. I gotta say that was it was just such a great treat when we started talking about that show, and besides just sharing a room to cut costs, and I was like, I'm going to Disneyland. We are too. Let's just go together. And then we all did the phone thing for the apps. Steph was great. I got to tell you, Steph there, her big smile there. She was running everything, getting us all the fast passes and everything else, and I got to tell you, that was I want to go back and do WonderCon because I want to go to Disneyland with you guys again.
Yeah. Disneyland and food trucks.
Yes. I love food trucks. That was the best thing about show is walked outside every night. What did we do? Like the 2 nights we did in a row, we went and just hit the food trucks and we could get anything you want. It's like, okay, I'll go have an appetizer and then here's my dinner. Oh, look, there's an ice cream one.
Yeah, it was awesome. I am trying my best to get convince Jesse to find a way to get some food trucks at Gem City Comic Con. So
yeah, it's tough with the location of that convention center. So because there isn't much out front there where they can just park.
Right. I'm working on them. I'm slowly but surely working on them. Hopefully, keep watching. Get these subtle hints.
We need the the great Comic-Con food truck rally.
Yeah.
Get a bunch of them coming in from everywhere. I tell you, some of the best food I have has been from food trucks. It's just the things they do is, and I like like in WonderCon, we walked in the morning, could walk right out, and they had a few of them open for breakfast. It was great, and I know those guys made huge money that week.
Oh yeah,
and more power to them. But they did a great job. I mean, walking out and you get like a $7 burrito, and it's the size of like this,
Oh yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, it was so good, so much good food, and which makes me think next time you're down our way. Once all this crap's over, we actually got a food truck depot. So we daily have 2 or 3 food trucks that are here.
Well, it's the way my schedule cleared up once they allow us to start traveling again. I think I'm going to have to come on down and visit for a couple of days. Maybe I'll bring Mom with me, and she'd love to see you guys and hang out. It'd be a lot of fun because we haven't done that in a long time. Where we just hung out. I think it's been since it's been so long since we hung out with you guys like that outside of a show.
Yeah,
I think it was when Metters was still with us. So that's how long ago it was. So
it's been a good little while here, and it's
Sammy says she's doing WonderCon 2021, barring she's getting married.
Okay.
As soon as we can get Ben over here when all this is done, they're going to get married. So and get her hitched again. She needs to get hitched again. He's a good guy over there in Australia, so I'm looking forward to meeting him. So I call Sammy my little sis, so I'm looking to meet my little brother sometime. So
there you go.
And that, but so we're talking about live streaming a little bit. Sammy's another one that live streams. She likes to chime in here with us, and people have been super receptive in that. I think this is what it's kind of forced a lot of us to do is kind of go back to grassroots. It's more of build that fan base up a little more and cultivate the existing fan base. And like I said, building relationships has always been a big thing at the shows. And you see this too. You've done enough shows over the last 20 years that when people come up to your table year after year after year, and they don't always have to buy some, but you're still excited to see them.
Oh yeah, I mean I love that the interaction, getting to see somebody. A lot of times, a lot of the fun is seeing those folks that I've grown with over the last however many years or whatnot. Mm-hmm. Is I've got a lot of friends / fans, what have you, that will come up and show me like their art collection. I'll call out and mention the Cran Boys. Mm-hmm. I've known them over the last I'd say probably like 10 plus years, and a couple of them live here in town, close by to me, so I run into them every once in a while. But they are avid art collectors, and they've got some killer sketchbooks. They've got killer portfolios just full of art from everybody you can imagine. And to see them at cons all the time and be like, hey, you got to see what I just got, because we have a lot of similar tastes. So it's like Shane, who's one of the Cranboys, he knows that I'm a big fan of Brett Booth. He's a big fan of Brett Booth. So I think it was last year at Fantastic Con in Toledo there. He brought his portfolio with him so he could show me the latest Brett Booth piece, and to set
nice.
he set it on the table and let me drool over it for a little bit. And it's stuff like that it's really cool, and that's obviously some of the stuff I'm missing right now. It's like don't get to see some of those folks and get that experience, and and back to the whole live stream. It's trying to get that little taste of it out there of like, how can we do this where we can actually see some folks talk, interact, do have a little bit of that convention experience without leaving the house.
Yeah, and that's always the tough part. It's like for Gem City. You knew Greg Carter.
Oh yeah.
And we lost him last year, and I was looking forward to seeing Ashley this year and her mom, and they were going to come out to Gem City, and all right, he was just one of those guys that he always threatened to buy. He bought stuff for me over the years, and every time I gotta come buy something for me, I always said, you don't have to, man. Just come by and say hi, and I mean, see what's going on, because I only saw him like a couple times a year, but he was one of those people that was fans of all our works and was buying all our artwork and comics and stuff like that. And he's definitely someone to miss, but that was been the hard part of not having that aspect this year, is to catch up with those people that knew him. Like Ann Ferry and their kids, Michelle and Ashley still come see me. I haven't seen their daughter Sam in a while, but their dad comes out, and so we see the Ferry family, basically. All the Ohio shows are just great. And that's been the hard part, I think, is just seeing the regulars and then meeting the new people. But it's great that we have this opportunity to, as when those that have the time, I step back a lot from stuff kind of as I'm rebuilding this year anyways, but I've also got an opportunity here to make a little bit extra money, what I've been doing, and outside of the art world. So I've had to do that before. So, but yeah, I mean, that's something I miss, but this is great that you're doing the live streaming. I know Sammy does it too, and a bunch of other people, and you're seeing some results. You're seeing some commissions come out of it.
Yeah. And I can't say thanks enough for all the people, again, not just, people that want to pick up a commission, but everybody that comes in chimes in, even if it's for like 2 comments, and it's it gives me a little something to break up the monotony of all of it. And having that experience where it's like oh, they really like me type thing. It's like it's not just I'm another cog in the convention thing. It's folks that actually want to genuinely pay attention to what I'm doing, have interest in my work, things like that, and that's great. And
again, but it's like, I don't know if you know Miles. He commented about this little comment here about, said it before, I'll say it again, it's not the stuff of the con, it's the people. I haven't seen Miles in a few years because I've done a lot of the Pittsburgh shows and that, but you see Miles all the time. He's another great fan to see at the shows, but he's also a good friend. And I know he's been around. I'm sure he's seen your work because he's been in enough of the Pittsburgh Comic Cons over the years. He had to have run across your stuff, your Scarlet Huntress and stuff like that. Let's talk a little Scarlet Huntress now. You did a Kickstarter last year. You're talking about you guys were shipping off that stuff already.
Yep.
Now with all the current changes and everything, you guys were going to launch another Kickstarter, but now you've put that on hold.
Yes. Yeah. Our intention was to try to, I guess, capitalize on like the spring convention time. Because we usually do like a bunch of shows, all running together between like March through May. Mm-hmm. So not just an online presence, but in person, be able to talk and pitch our book. And we won't have that capability to do it in person, obviously. And I was talking with a friend of mine last night. It's like I don't. Kind of 2 reasons. I don't want to run run a Kickstarter and it not succeed because people are feeling the hurt from all this stuff going on, being laid off or furloughed or whatever the case may be. And people either can't back it because they're worried about paying their bills, which totally get, and do your thing. You gotta do what you can. But I also didn't want to like run a Kickstarter right now, and thankfully right now I've got some work to keep me busy. But I didn't want to put a Kickstarter out there and potentially, you know, take money off of somebody else's plate.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody else is out there, you know, trying to, you know, struggle to get Kickstarter going, which, you know, I've got one project that I was working on that got put on hold because of the whole thing, because of more of a time issue of just the person that I'm drawing. It's called Bookaliaxia. So you've probably seen me post stuff because I worked on issue 3 and they just finished up a Kickstarter for issue 3. And
Okay.
I was working on issue 4, but the artist had to take a break. I didn't get the details. I just know he's like, you know, I got to step away from this for a little bit. So, you know, that project got put on hold.
Mhm.
And then another project, which you'll love the title, Dude Bro. It's kind of a riff on Conan and like the old barbarian stories. Same thing. He was planning on crowdfunding it, doing a Kickstarter, and he was like, you know, I don't know what the climate's going to be like with all this stuff right now, so I'm gonna put it on hold. So it's like, you know, I had, you know, 2 projects. One I was pretty in depth in the process. I think I've colored about half the book. You know, that got set aside. And the other one, I only did a handful of pages as the kind of the primer for the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And that got put on hold. So it's like, you know, scramble to like, okay, can I pick up some more projects? Can I pick up some more commissions? And, you know, again, thankfully, I've had a lot of folks that have picked up commissions or, you know, picked up, you know, books, prints, what have you, from our live sales that we've done. And, you know, so I am gonna keep putting the feelers out there of projects. So anybody listening, if you need some pencils or some colors, hey, come find me. But you know, just trying to keep that stuff going. And you know, Steph and I are like in the mindset of, you know, let's you know, take our time, make sure we do this right, and wait until we feel a little bit more comfortable about putting the information out there on
Yeah.
on the next book, which I'll totally go and start giving the plug of anybody that's picked up our last couple of Kickstarters or seen us over the years at cons or whatnot may or may not have seen the book that we put out called Scarlet's Field Guide to Cryptids, which if you're Harry Potter fans, which I know you are, Brett.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's the Fantastic Beast book. You know, and it was the actual book. I not actually picked it up, but what little I know of it, it was, you know, it was Newt's you know, explanation of all the various creatures and whatnot of the Harry Potter world.
Yeah. The Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Yeah. So what I did, and I don't know whether or not we put this out before that book or whatever. I had honestly never heard of the Fantastic Beast thing, but this actually came from a conversation between Metters and I back in probably like 2010, I want to say. We're, you know, I used to go to his house during the week and we would just sit and work during the day, and we'd sit there and, you know, talk back and forth about, you know, ideas for projects and whatnot. And we came up with this whole thing of like, oh, it'd be really cool if you did a, you know, a book of, you know, Scarlet talking about all these various cryptids that she comes across.
Mm-hmm.
And because like we'd sit there during the day and watch like the stuff on the Sci-Fi Channel or the History Channel of, you know, Monster Hunters or whatever those shows were called. And so it sparked up the idea, and I'm like, okay, how can I make this work? And all I remember is it was a car ride home. I want to say from Motor City Comic Con, that same time frame. Steph and I were in the car, and I was on my phone, and I started making a to-do list of, okay, what cryptid creatures can we come up with that Scarlet would come across in all of her, you know, travels and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, we were getting ready. I think that would have been maybe our second time out to San Diego. And it was like, well, we need to do a new book. Because at the time we were splitting the table with Jalen Warner, a.k.a. Josh Warner, / creator of Mighty Moose.
Yep.
And it was like, okay, we need a new book. It's like, well, you know, my schedule and trying to do my own creator-owned thing is always tricky if being able to get enough time to, you know, do a book on my own. So it's like, how can I, you know, convince some folks to do some pieces of artwork for this thing? And so put up a post on Facebook. I started messaging a handful of friends, and I want to say maybe about a dozen or so friends jumped in and were like, "Yeah, I'll do a piece." They were like, everybody was just excited, just the opportunity, like, "Yeah, I want to draw one of these creatures," and so people just started picking from the list. It's like, Metters did a Yeti, and Jay Fife ended up doing two pieces. He did Mothman and the giant turtle. Can't remember what the giant turtle is called, but
Yeah.
and those are the giant turtle and Metters' Yeti piece are like my two favorite pieces from the book, and I think both of them ended up on the cover. And Steph and I sat there and we came up with like some breakdowns of like, okay, what was Scarlett's interaction with these things, and then Steph ran with it and she wrote these little stories and it's just prose. It's not like an actual like comic story where it's panel to panel stuff. It's just a Scarlett's actual journal of her interacting with these different cryptids,
Yeah.
and then all the artwork is in there as eyewitness accounts. Like we'd credit like Jay Fife, and that's just Jay Fife's take on what the monster looked like. So what we want to do is, when we did this book initially, we didn't have crowdfunding that wasn't accessible at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't afford to do any more than black and white printing. So what we want to do is do an upgraded, upscaled version of this thing, go full color, put it out the way we initially intended to, and get the look and feel of her journal. And I'm going to go through the same process. I've already got a couple of pieces from Jay Fife. Jalen Warner has slowly been working on a couple of pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I got some plans for some new artwork. And I want to take this thing from, I think we did like, it was an odd count. I want to say it's like 34 pages or something along those lines. I want to take this thing and like beef it up, at least double the size if possible.
Yeah.
And, go full color the whole bit and get this out there for, people to see kind of like all these other things that Scarlett comes across, and just have fun with the stories of Scarlett versus the Lake Erie monster, or the Flatwoods monster, things like that.
Yeah.
And my plan is to not only do the book and get the book the way we want it, and but I want to do a bunch of new cryptid pieces to go along with it. So there'll be much like we did the last Kickstarter, there'll be prints available. But I'm gonna gear it more towards strictly those different creatures. Like I did in the last Kickstarter, we did trading cards, and it was Scarlet versus those various cryptids. So there's a little preview of what some of the work will be like. Like I did a Bigfoot, a swamp creature, gremlins. So there'll be a lot more stuff like that, and just some fun stuff, and and back to the whole thing of like when it'll happen. So once we see what things turn around with, and we know the timing's right, and then we'll get the thing launched and start getting it out there and getting the word out, and hopefully have a nice completed project that's ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And get the thing funded and get it in everybody's hands.
Yeah, and I think it was smart to hold off. I know I've supported Enrica. She has doing the new one, the Ninja Bear, launched it prior to all this happening, and through all this, it just hit the 100%, which I was glad to see. It got funded.
Good.
And hopefully people are still able to pay the money that they said they would.
Yeah.
But I knew it's just a difficult time to try to launch a brand new project with everything going on. Because a lot of people are definitely either in flux or just kind of waiting out. People are like income right now, but they want to make sure that they're not going to be too much. And I think it's a smart thing to wait. And like Sammy said there, she held off on hers as well for the same reason. It's got to make sure people are going to have the money for it first of all. But saying you don't want people, I'm going to get this because I got money right now, and then 2-3 months from now when they're supposed to be getting this stuff, it's like, I wish I'd not done that, and they have buyer's remorse and things like that. So that's always the hard part on that stuff. So
yeah,
but I like the idea for this next Kickstarter. I think that's going to be a blast. And once you guys really get that going, we'll have you back on to share some more about that.
Awesome.
And especially with this new format. I love it. Don't you love this new format that we're doing now with the video?
I do. I dig this. I think it's a really cool setup. It's very very intriguing. I'm gonna dip my toe a little bit more in this stuff here.
Yeah, the interactiveness has been great. I know you've seen some of the comments I popped up, like from Miles.
Yeah.
Jojo popped in. I don't know if you know Jojo. She's well, you never really did Florida shows.
No,
Jojo,
no.
I've known for Florida for years. She's good friends with. She knows George Perez, and George Perez's niece, and is her best friend in that. And so that's how I met Jojo. And then when she was down there working at uh, Universal, I used to
Nice.
go, she'd help us sometimes get Scott in or something like that since I have my pass, but she'd come hang out. So I got plenty of pictures of her and I and another friend, Gracie, and my sister, Brooke, and even Sammy and Tommy from a few years ago, all at Universal hanging out. So JoJo was saying, tell me she needed to come see her in Philly. So we'll have to do that once everything calms down. I've never been to Philly, so that might be an interesting thing to do. And
Nice.
maybe eventually I have to do a con there just to try it out, just so I can go to Philly and maybe go get a cheesesteak or something,
Oh, there you go.
and that. So, well, as things start to get better, what is your convention schedule looking like right now?
It's still a lot up in the air. I've got that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm supposed to be doing Colossal Con in June.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'd love to see, I want to see all this stuff turn around quickly and, get everybody healthy. But just trying to be realistic,
Right.
I know that we're going to have to go in reverse of what we did where we were, we got down to 100 people and then 50 and then 10 and, so on. We're going to do that in reverse order. I don't see us getting back up to thousands of people by June. Maybe I'm wrong, we'll see.
Yeah.
And then I was on the waiting list for Comic-Con, and seeing all the stuff coming out of San Diego with what they're utilizing the convention center right now for the health crisis.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm waiting to see on too, because I'm not setting up, but Kevin Miner and I are flying out, and we're coming out on Thursday just to enjoy the convention for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and go back Monday. Yeah. Scott's already planning on setting up, which he would be next to you, as you always is the way it seems to be. So we're kind of just waiting to see on that too, if they are able to, get everything ready for the show in June. I know they're still planning it, and they're working on things. So it's gonna be I think it's gonna be, if it does happen, I think the scale will be down, and I don't see them doing the outside stuff as much with all the different studios.
Yeah.
Because they'll all be in production trying to catch up on all the filming they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
But we might see a resurgence back at Comic-Con of it being an actual Comic-Con again versus a movie con.
Right. Yeah, because all those production studios and whatnot, they're losing. Like, I think Disney was losing something like $30,000 a day on just their movie stuff because they shut it down.
Well, I mean, and they've been doing, one thing they did was they launched Frozen 2 really quick onto Disney Plus to help out. They brought Onward on, which was great. They launched it in the on demand, and they're like, yeah, you can buy it now for $20, or in 2 weeks you can watch it on Disney Plus for free. So I waited for Disney Plus, and when it comes out, it's supposed to come out next month on Blu-ray. I'll buy that because I definitely want to own it. But then Bob Iger was saying they're going to have a few other ones. What is it? I'm blanking on what the name of it was, but the new movie was supposed to come out, and it was they were supposed to be in theaters. They're not going to launch that right on Disney Plus. It's
Artemis Fowl.
Yeah, Artemis. Yeah, Artemis Fowl. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that, and I'm looking forward to watching it. And I think I will probably always remember that Onward was like the last movie we saw in the theater before this whole thing started. Like,
yeah, same here. And I was actually planning to go see it again, and I was looking forward to it, and then all this happened. So. I'm definitely a little bummed I didn't see it again on the big screen, but I've already watched it once on Disney Plus. I'm sure I'll watch it a bunch more times. And I love that movie. That movie, I went in thinking, okay, this will be I'll enjoy it because it's Pixar. I didn't realize how much I was gonna really love this movie.
Oh yeah, no, I dug it. I mean, from the get-go, when I saw like the concept art and they announced that Chris Pratt and Tom Holland were doing the voices, I was sold. But then sitting there watching it and just all the like the Dungeons and Dragons type jokes and all the typical Pixar inside jokes that they throw in those things.
Yeah,
it's just fantastic, and then the story's great, and I love it, and I think I was in the majority of people that are sitting there, and it's like, yeah, Disney knows, Disney and Pixar knows how to make you sit there and start bawling as the movie ends.
Well, yeah, and it was, definitely was a tearjerker. Yeah, Sammy, you got to watch. Sammy hasn't seen it. Sammy, you got to watch Onward. It's just fantastic. So yeah, okay, no spoilers for Sammy. Sammy, just go watch it. You're gonna love it. And I it's funny that the Chris Pratt, Tom Holland. It's funny. Tom Holland was also a voice in the Doolittle movie I watched with Robert Downey Jr. last night. I picked that up on DVD because I didn't get a chance to go see it in the theater, so they brought it on Blu-ray pretty quick, and so I picked that up and I enjoyed it. It was actually, I found it fun. Definitely a different take on Doolittle than I've seen prior. But it's funny as like I'm looking at the cast, I was like, oh, Tom Holland's in this. I think him and Robert Downey Jr. are like best buds or something. Since the whole Spider-Man Iron Man thing kicked off within the movies several years ago. So but yeah, he's Tom Holland's popping up everywhere. Same with Chris Pratt. I definitely Onward. Something I'm hoping that if they do more with it, I'm sure that they can tell a good story. But it'd be like the Incredibles. We're gonna have to wait a while for it because it's something you can just jump into. But definitely the whole Dungeon and Dragon aspect of it. The fairy tale aspect, mixing the modern with the magic, which is done in a lot of other things. So it's not a new concept, but definitely the way they get you, they grab you at the feels real quick, and it's like, oh man, I want to cry, I want to eat my popcorn and enjoy the movie.
No, they got some magic in there. It's I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to watching it, probably over and over on Disney Plus, but hopefully they will eventually break out a sequel or something, or do something that spins out of that world,
Yeah, and they've taken someone like the Big Hero 6 and created some TV series. And I could see them doing mini adventures with them, and everything else. But it's just all the little stuff. And Sammy's gonna love it when she watches. I can't wait to hear what she thinks of it. The couple of different characters that pop up, I think she'll enjoy those. I want to, I think it's gonna be cool. Is when I was watching the movie in the theater, I was like, I want a jean jacket with all those patches.
Oh yeah, and again with like the Pixar inside joke stuff, all those patches and like all the double meanings to each one of them.
Yeah,
like, there's one of them at least I think it's a patch. There's something in there that's an Easter egg of the Infinity Gauntlet.
Okay. I haven't even seen a close up of all of it because it goes so fast on the screen.
Yeah, like my thing while I work anymore is I pop on YouTube and I've got a handful of folks that I'll listen to throughout the day, and I listen to a lot of the people like going on and describing all the Easter eggs from movies to like just for kicks, just to see like, okay, what I missed in like Onward, for example, like you said, one of them was a nod to the Infinity Gauntlet, and I think the way that it shows up and whatnot somehow pokes fun at Star-Lord screwing up the whole thing with Thanos. So it's like stuff like that. It's like it's not only just like an inside thing at Pixar, but it's like the whole encompassing Disney universe. It's like they mixed in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Disney, Pixar, the whole bit, and it's I just love that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, I do too. I don't catch a lot of those. I watch some of those videos to see what I've missed, and it's kind of neat to like, oh, I didn't realize I missed that. I was like, nope, caught that. Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah,
it makes you want to go back and rewatch the whole movie again.
Yep,
knowing that stuff's like, so you see it happen, and it's like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, like yesterday or a couple days ago, whatever, I was sitting there and I listened to one where these guys are doing a rewatch of the whole MCU, and I watched their breakdown of all the stuff that they didn't pay attention to in Thor and Captain America. And then it's like, you hear their spiel on it, and it's, it's amazing how much stuff going back the whole 10 years of like, from Iron Man onwards, how much of that stuff made it all the way into Endgame, where it's like, this meant absolutely nothing when we watched it in Iron Man, but now it's like the key to everything in Endgame. And
and that was the funny thing about the first Iron Man movies. Favreau was just kind of throwing stuff in, like, well, this is all part of the Marvel universe anyways. What we're doing here, it is.
Yeah.
And then even up through the first Avengers movie, when they did the little teaser with Thanos, at that time they didn't have the plan to do the Infinity Gauntlet. But when people reacted to it, they were like, okay, we're gonna have to lead towards that. And the next few phases led right into them doing that.
Yeah.
And that was what was really cool about it, is they had the opportunity to just throw stuff in there that had no real meaning until later on, and but people weren't going to go, well, what about? And
Yeah.
there's all the cliffhangers. It wasn't cliffhangers. It's just like a nod or a thing here. And heck, even seeing Loki, walking by the fake Infinity Gauntlet, and
Yep.
like, oh, fake,
Yeah. Yeah. It's just impressive how they were able to, some of it, yeah, they had the foresight to be like, yeah, let's throw this in there because we're working it later. But a lot of it was like you said, it was just like, yeah, we'll just put this in here. Somebody 10 years later comes along and it's like, how can we work that into the story? And they actually do it, and it makes sense, and it makes it a better story. And it's like, that's some talent. That's impressive.
Well, and that's what I think Marvel did right with and Disney with the Marvel movies was the movies themselves, for the most part, they hold up independently, and you can watch them whenever you want. But they were all done as basically like an episode of a larger story. But the point of, I think of it like we had like 22, I think, total with this last Spider-Man. When you think about the whole bookend, that's like one season and a show. And when you look at a 22 episode season, you have some filler episodes that there's something there that may lead to the bigger story, but for the most part, it doesn't.
Right.
And that's what all these did, is like, here's these soul ties, and here's these ones that kind of go boom, boom, boom together. When you're dealing, can't do another Avengers, we do the Captain America Civil War, but it's still basically an Avengers movie, but it all ties in together in that. So, and that was the best part of that. And that's why I think, they've done well with that. Even Pixar. I mean, Pixar, everything's independent movies, but they give nods to themselves all through the whole thing, and it led to the whole Pixar theory, which Scott and I talked about in an episode way back when sometime.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm waiting to see how Onward fits into the Pixar theory, because I think it's kind of neat how that works, and it seems to work. I mean, it's all kind of made up, but they give so many different hints and nods, and they drop so many Easter eggs in that it's like, oh yeah, well, here's the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, or here's a Mickey hint, here's this, here's that, and it just kind of works on that. So.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that's going to fit in to that whole theory, because while watching it, I did keep that in the back of my mind going, how does this fit? Like, is this related to, Brave? Is it going to be related to this? I'm trying to think of like commonalities between all of it. And it's, on first glance, I got to say, I'm going to be very, very, I guess, lost as to how it's going to fit in there, because it doesn't seem like at first glance that there's a lot of commonality to tie it back into everything, but I'm sure it's in there somewhere.
Well, they talked about there was like time frames within the Pixar theory that things happen, like the world of like Bug's life happened during a different time from something else, but it's all in the same universe. Same with Brave, and then when you get the witch at the end and she ties everything back in with time travel, so it's like there's like a period in like the history within the theory that this will probably drop in, like, oh yeah, during these several hundred years here, it became this fantasy world, and the magic was there, and the magic could be tied into, like you said, with Brave and stuff like that. But then this realm here kind of spun off into its own thing for the longest time, as Brave led into like Toy Story, stuff like that. There was this hidden world almost of, you saw there's all the mushrooms and things like that, but then they still had the modern stuff on motorcycles and things like that. So so that's always kind of cool how they do stuff like that. So and so we're gonna kind of get ready to wrap up here. I've got streaming down here your link tree for Sean Forney Arts. You can find all the stuff for Sean. We got his Facebook, Instagram, websites, all that stuff. Now, do you have a set schedule that you're doing streaming, or are you just kind of popping on whenever?
Right now I'm doing it whenever, just because my schedule's been a little erratic with, I've had a couple of covers and pages and whatnot pop up that I didn't anticipate. So those always got to take priority.
Right.
So I've been trying to, a couple hours each week, pop on for a half hour at a time or something like that.
Okay.
So the best thing I could say is, my link tree links to absolutely every one of my social media accounts. So visit there, like, follow, subscribe, what have you, on any of those. I believe on Twitch, you're able to turn on notifications so you know when I go live.
Yep.
Follow that stuff. And I try to do a little like preview type thing and be like, hey, I'm going to go live in a little bit. So just keep an eye out for those, and you can always watch them after the fact. They're always uploaded to all the different accounts. So just keep an eye out for that stuff. And when I go live, feel free to hop on, chat, that kind of thing. And if I can get it narrowed down to a schedule where I can pick a day time that works best, I'll start doing that. Right now, it's just as a good time.
That's cool. Now, before we sign off, you do know today is April 8th. Do you know what it is today? It's a special day.
Oh yeah, I read it this morning. Rex Manning Day.
Rex
right?
Manning Day. Say no more, no more.
There you go.
And for those that don't know, Rex Manning Day is from Empire Records, a great '90s throwback.
Yeah.
Gosh, I think it's almost been 25 years now. That movie's been out for a long time, you know, and that. So I'm thinking, I was like, I might have to dig up my old DVD or see if it's on Netflix or something and watch some Empire Records while I'm working today. And yeah, 1995. So 25 years ago, Empire Records came out, and the release date's funny. The release date was September 22nd, but it's April 8th is Rex Manning Day when he came into the record store there, and that. So people that don't know about Empire Records, definitely check out that great throwback. This is here. We got to pop it up here. See if it'll pop up again. Everything's running slow. There's a link to Best Buy on my thing now, but and come on. There we go.
Load.
Yeah. There's Best Buy. There it is. You can buy the DVD and it's only $5.99. That's the Remix fan special in that. And
nice.
You can recognize all and pretty much, I think everybody in here is still acting to this day. So different aspects. So
watched Jay and Silent Bob, the Strike Back.
The reboot.
Watched that over the weekend, and it's like you said, everybody in there still working, and it's like all the people that jumped in there as cameos and stuff, and it's just mind-boggling of all the people that'll pop up from time to time. It's like I didn't realize they were still acting.
It's funny. They got a lot of them in there. Or some, I think some still aren't acting as much, but they still came out and did it for him. And what I loved about the reboot, though, before we go, is that he basically said this movie. They explained what a reboot is versus and all that stuff. And he let everybody know ahead of time what it's going to be, and it was exactly what he said it was going to be. And people were still trashing it like, "Oh, this is a horrible movie." It's like, he told you it was a bad movie. It's not just bad. I enjoyed the heck out of the whole thing, but all it was just a nostalgia bit of, gosh, it's been looking close to 27 years since Clerks came out, and all these characters have come back. This, now later we get to see him again, and everybody. I mean, he got everybody to come back pretty much, and it was just great. So. But listen, hey, I appreciate you hanging out with me today, Sean. I'm gonna get ready to close the show here, so don't jump off yet. Okay. I'm gonna mute you down and that. But I want to thank everybody. Join me next week. Scott, hopefully be back next week, 10 a.m. We may start doing some other stuff during the week, so definitely watch for our going live, because now that we have this StreamYard, we can pop on anytime and have a lot of fun. So until next time, guys, I'm gonna take us out.